Hey, good evening, Ideal Protein Nation. I'd like to reach out and thank you all for being so patient as we bring to you this production. Like I said, it's been a long day. We've been working really hard, and we couldn't be more excited about bringing you this show. So let's just get right to it. Again, I know that we're going to have a lot of new listeners and a lot of new viewers this time around. So I wanted to kind of introduce the show to you a little bit. For those of you that don't know, the Life Possible podcast spotlights successful clients, coaches, and clinic owners who have used the Ideal Protein protocol to reset their body, reset their mind, and actually reset what's possible for their life. You know, these individuals truly have had life-changing experiences, and now as a result, they're pursuing goals and dreams they thought were dead and gone. They're pursuing goals and dreams they never thought they could. In fact, they're pursuing goals and dreams they never even dreamed that they wanted to do. They're busy living a life they love so much that they don't feel the need to escape from it. It's my hope that you'll hear their stories and that you'll be able to connect with them, and you'll be able to understand that if they can do it, so can you. I'm hoping that this podcast will reach and inspire as many people as possible to take full advantage of what's available throughout the Ideal Protein protocol, beyond mere weight loss and into life transformation. Well, who am I? Well, that's a great question. And at this point in the night, I barely know who I am, but my name is Dr. John Barnes. And you know what? There's no easy way to put this, but 5.5, 6 years ago, I was fat, sick, and depressed, and I didn't see a way out. I had allowed obesity to creep into my life through overeating and overdrinking and anxiety and depression. And by the time I tried to do something about it, what I had already known how to do, it didn't work anymore. And I realized I had broken my metabolism, and I did not see any way out or any solution at the time. So I'd literally given up. But then, I truly believe that God brought me the Ideal Protein protocol as the answer to so many of my prayers, both personally and professionally. Initially, I lost 45 pounds doing my initial phase 1 protocol, and it totally changed my life. Then we became an independent authorized Ideal Protein clinic. And it's been 5.5 years, almost 6 years now, that we've been doing the Ideal Protein protocol in my practice. We're at Ideal Protein, Barnes Chiropractic Health and Fitness in the Washington, D.C. area out in Centerville, Virginia. Now, I actually find myself 65 pounds down from my initial weight, and I actually feel like I'm living a life that's healthy, vibrant, and alive. I've been able to return to the sport of triathlon after over 25 years of inactivity, and that's how I'm living my life possible these days. So enough about me, because we've got an incredible guest. I have been building up this show just to the point where I felt comfortable enough to have our next guest on this show. My featured guest this week is an Ideal Protein Nation icon. I'm so excited to feature the one and only Geneva Caroline Eickhoff, author of the most popular Phase 1 cookbook on the planet, Geneva's Ideal Recipes. Today, you're going to hear about her personal Ideal Protein journey, the evolutions of all 3 of her cookbooks now, and her wildly popular Facebook group that has over 58,000 members in it. Also, probably the most exciting part of the show for me is we're going to be joined by somebody who's near and dear to my heart and who's one of Geneva's biggest fans. In fact, Geneva told me the feeling is pretty mutual. So I'm so excited for you guys to see them meet for the first time. And then I'm going to turn the microphone over, reluctantly, but I'm going to turn the microphone over to my guest host so that she and Geneva can talk shop. They are going to talk foods and recipes in the kitchen. You guys are going to absolutely love this show. Finally, at the end, we're going to reveal a couple of different menus. Geneva has put together some ideas and suggestions for your very own quarantine Super Bowl party. Should be so much easier this year since you're not going to be going to place with a lot of people and a lot of temptations. She's going to show you exactly what you should have on your spread so that you can stay in protocol during the Super Bowl. And then as well, Valentine's Day is coming up. You hear that, guys? 10 days till Valentine's Day, gentlemen. Valentine's Day is coming up, and she's put together a very elegant Valentine's meal and dessert. So again, you can keep that day special and stick to your guns and stay in phase 1 protocol. So without any further ado, I want to bring to you Geneva Caroline Eickhoff. Hey!
Hey, how are you?
I'm great. How are you?
Doing good. Just trying to stay warm. It's minus 13 degrees in Minnesota tonight.
Minus 13 degrees. You know, that's
Yes.
why I don't live in Minnesota.
Well, born and raised here, but you know,
Yeah,
that's why
okay.
we have to take several vacations down south, you know, in the wintertime. And so, but it's a great place to live, you know, in the summer for sure. So
Yeah, absolutely. Well, but again, if you were born and raised there, like the temperature shouldn't bother you. You should still be wearing shorts and stuff, right?
no, I don't. I just stay inside. That's all.
But you know what? And I think that's a great point. You know, I don't know that many people know where you live and where you're from. And you shared with me a couple of pictures that I want to bring to everybody about what beautiful country you're in. No wonder this is where you live, right?
Right. I'm in central Minnesota, and the top left up there, you see all the water. When you fly into, it's the Brainerd Lakes area. When you fly in there, that's all you see is water. It's absolutely stunning. And it's 2/3 water and 1/3 land. So, you know, in this state, we have over 12,000 lakes. And if you count the basins, there's over 22,000. So it's very common for, you know, people to be living on water. I live on a lake of 13,000 acres of fun. There's about 8 connecting lakes. It's incredible. So boats are very important to us here because we really can only boat for about 4 months.
Yeah,
nice.
I was going to ask you that. Yeah,
we kind of pushed it a little bit into October, but it can get pretty cold. And then but in the wintertime, we try to have some fun. And the picture that you see there, the ice fishing event, it's the largest in the world. It's Gull Lake, same lake that I live on. And so we have to figure out how to have fun here. So
yeah,
there's they just go out and drill lots of holes in the lake and try and catch the biggest fish. You know,
and I can't believe that it doesn't fall through with the grid of holes that are there.
Yeah, they actually build on the lakes up here. They build little cities where they have bonfires going on in the middle of the lake. There's cars.
Oh my God.
They build like little houses and main streets and right on the ice. It's pretty nuts. So,
that's wild.
It's entertaining. We have to figure out something in the cold winters to do around here. So, right.
Sure, absolutely. But also too, then again, it's probably where a love of food and cooking comes as well, right?
Oh, for sure. You know, as soon as it's so seasonal here, the way that we cook, I'm sure it is for a lot of people that have the 4 different seasons, you know, and as it gets colder, what you want the comfort foods. And so we were definitely raised on comfort foods in this area, which goes for, you know, pretty much most of the cold areas of North America, including Canada, you know. So
yeah, absolutely.
You hear my Canadian accent?
Area. Yeah, I can, eh?
Yeah, I live here in Minnesota.
Minnesota, well, Minnesota and Canada, you know, they kind of have the same kind of tinge to them, eh?
Yeah, they do.
I'm going to get you to say A before the show's over. Okay. So,
we'll see.
You know, one of the things, again, reluctant as I call you celebrity, but I tell you, I didn't even realize until the other day after we had started talking, when I looked at your Facebook group, 58,000 people in that Facebook group. You know, that's tremendous. But I also, you know, a lot of people, and even more and more and more have your cookbook and what have you. But I don't know how many people have ever really heard your personal story, your personal ideal protein journey. So I thought that that would be a great part of the show that everybody is most interested in.
Okay.
Because again, to me, you know, again, what you've done after that and with that is again a great example of life possible. And so I just think that it's a fascinating story that people would love to know. So I want to start. I want to get back to kind of. I want to go back, and I want to kind of find out. Adulthood. How would you say that your weight was? For the most part during your adult years.
Really for my in my adult years, as soon as I suppose went into I want to say this, in my junior year, I was size 13 junior. And at the time, I didn't think of that as big. I didn't feel like I thought it was very average. And then I came back my senior year. I started a job as a car hop, and I did a lot of walking, but I think I was making the change, as a young woman, and I came back a size 1. And yeah,
Wow.
I know it was unbelievable. And I went, losing 35 pounds put me from a 13 to a 1.
Okay.
And I was getting a lot of attention, and I was very shy about that kind of attention. And it drew sort of a, not such a good connection between weight and, just being popular for like the first time. And I,
Right.
right. And so it wasn't a very good teaching moment for me. So after that, I pretty much stayed a slender to average individual. And then, some things happened in my life to help me put the weight on to where, I was then introduced to ideal protein.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's, so.
Yeah. We don't have to go into any details or what have you, but a very traumatic event that you went through that got everything started.
Yes. In 2001, I lost my only son. And after that, after I lost him, I lost my purpose in life. I didn't feel like I had much purpose. And, it sent me into a pretty dark place of depression. And there were days that I couldn't get out of bed. And so, I was pretty much skin and bones, because in the beginning, during the grieving process, that I just couldn't eat anything. So I really went from skin and bones through the grieving process then to just kind of eating my way through the emotions of that event. And I think it was part of the grieving. For the first time, I realized how much that eating is an emotional trigger for me. I work on it to this day. And I think that's something that many people struggle with. And it's, it's a lifelong thing, but, ideal protein has brought to me so many, has taught me so much, just even into maintenance. And I've taken a lot of what I learned just on my phase 1 journey into maintenance to be able to, continue to maintain my weight today. So, but
yeah, so absolutely. And then also too, 2012, that didn't help as well, right? You had a diagnosis and a health challenge there, which created even more weight gain.
Yes, it was, I've always been athletic. I went to the gym, did a lot of, aerobic type things, lifting weights, treadmill, love that. And one day I started feeling inflammation and, sort of a peripheral neuropathy throughout my hands and muscles and that kind of thing. And I was diagnosed with Lyme disease. And so, I did a series of antibiotics and those kinds of things. If, it's that kind of a thing, all the doctors said to me, until you gain control of your inflammation, you're not going to lose weight. Your body needs to heal before you can properly, take charge of it again. And so,
and also too, right? They put you on steroids.
Well, they tried steroids at the time, and of course it did help, but you can't stay on steroids forever. I just recently, now this in 2020, they started me on steroids again for since August. I just weaned off of them. I'd rather almost feel the pain than to deal with
Go
the
through
side
that.
effects. Yeah, it's not a very the side effects are just too much for me. So, but I didn't listen to the doctors when they told me I couldn't lose weight. I just I tried different diets, and none of them really stuck like the ideal protein diet did. And
Yeah.
so it
So yeah.
really helped my inflammation though. Yeah.
Well, then how did you find out about the ideal protein protocol?
Well, so I have I get my hair cut twice a year, and pretty.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm going to stop you right there. Ladies, did you
Okay.
hear this? Twice a year.
Yeah.
All right.
And
I think my wife
so
thinks that I'm on that plan right now too. Absolutely. Gets a cut twice a year, no gray yet.
no gray yet. So thank you, Mom. Yep.
Absolutely amazing
So
genetics there, right?
yeah, and my sister's, I think she was well into her 70s before she got her first gray, and my sister's, she won't like me saying it, but she's about 61 now, and she doesn't have any grays either. So I'm approaching there in a few years myself. But
Yeah.
I hadn't seen my hairdresser in 6 months, and I walked in and I looked around, I didn't recognize her, and she'd lost 80 pounds since the last time I had seen her.
That's
And
unreal.
so, yeah. And of course, when you sit in the salon chair, you chew the fat there. And she said,
Absolutely.
yeah. And, so I'm asking her, what did you do? She started talking about ideal protein, and she was so excited about it. She even had brochures for ideal protein. She gave me one of those. She ran into the back and grabbed a pre-made vanilla latte, drink, and made a little latte for me. She said, "You got to try this with the coffee. It's so good." And I did, and it was great. And then, I made an appointment with the local Ideal Protein Clinic, and off I went. And it
Wow.
was, yeah.
So clinic owners and coaches, did you catch that? If you've got any hairdressers as clients, you need to give them some brochures. You need to give them
Yeah.
some pre-made drink to have in the back, and they can make lattes for potential clients. And I think that's fantastic. What an
Well, it's a
awesome.
good place to have somebody's attention too, to talk to
Oh,
somebody. So
yeah.
while you're sitting there. So, and my hair does take a while to cut once I'm sitting there. So we always have lots to talk about, so, but that's how it started. And then,
And that was in 2013, yes?
2013. Yes. Yeah.
And how'd it go?
It went great. I mean, for the first 2 weeks, it took me about 2 weeks to get the rhythm down, the protocol down for me. And then once I hit that 2 weeks, I was just off and running. And it was melting off, and I couldn't believe it, especially, and I was still full on in my Lyme disease diagnosis. And for all those doctors that said I wouldn't lose the weight, I did. And so in about 12-ish weeks, I went from a size 33 waist jeans to a 26. And I mean, I was just truly astounded.
Yeah.
In that amount of time, in 3 months, it was so life-changing for me. I went from thinking I needed to change the outside appearance of myself, but what ended up happening is I changed myself from the inside. And once you change
that's such a huge, you didn't even, you've been holding out on me. You didn't even say any of this. Keep going.
Well, when you change on the inside, and you do things for yourself on the inside, the outside is just a bonus that the outside changes. Right.
Love it.
And so,
Absolutely love it.
So before if you're just thinking about joining, and you're, a lot of times extra weight will affect our self-esteem and our confidence and things like that. And the secret is to just love who you are before you start the journey. Because I'm going to tell you, once you lose the weight, it's not going to make you love yourself more. You need to find that first, and then it's so much easier to lose the weight along the way if you just truly accept who you are where you are and love who you are. And it's a journey. It's a journey of not, it's not just changing what you eat. It's a spiritual journey. It fills your soul along the way. And I mean, I could just gush about it, but
well, that's what we're here for.
It's so, I mean, best thing ever did, so
no, you know what?
Learned a lot.
Truly. And that's the thing that is kind of a running theme through a lot of our shows, is the whole idea of it, transformation on the inside, and the outside is, like you said, it's merely a bonus.
Mm-hmm.
When they came out with the concept of, reset body, reset mind, and reset possible, that captures the spirit of all of that. And that's what I wanted to capture with this show.
For sure.
For me, you can't reset your body until you reset your mind, just like you said.
Exactly. Yes.
But the other part of it is too, the thing that's different about this protocol is that the power of this protocol is more what it does for us on the inside, how it resets your metabolism and restores your metabolic health. And in the process of that, we see the spillover effects in so many different areas we didn't think were connected. And talk about, again, so let's talk about that Lyme's pain and how you were feeling then.
To this day, I still have it. I'm not convinced that it's Lyme, because I have been treated for it. I've been to, just background, I've been to 10 specialists. I'm currently working with a rheumatologist. It's just, I don't know what it is. But when I went on Ideal Protein, I noticed about 2 to 3 weeks into it, wow, I feel less inflammation. Just the simple fact of not eating sugar. Sugar, what ignites it? Like, my whole body feels on fire. So I don't even, to this day, I don't eat sugar. I mean, maybe every now and then, but nothing. I usually eat sugar replacements, like allulose, and all the water. I mean, for one, and that's another habit along the way. There's so many habits I learned just in the 3 months on Ideal Protein, and drinking all that water was part of it. Just flushing out the toxins. I don't really drink anything but water anymore, just because I like it. I mean, that's what I prefer now. I incorporate the vegetables. I try and incorporate all those vegetables, which there's so many delicious ways to get them in, even if you're a veggie hater. And
hey, are you pointing fingers at me?
I was just implying a little bit, but so take me around to what your question was again. I was just kind of rambling
the
there.
Bottom line, that's something that we share, though. The bottom line is that our musculoskeletal pain will ebb and flow depending on our nutrition. And if our nutrition is straying in the wrong direction and including too many starches or carbs or sugars or things like that, it takes a day or two for me, and I'll start hobbling around on my ankle. And if I get that stuff detox, get that stuff out of my system, I don't have any pain. And so, people who are suffering, I've seen it in my practice, people with myofascial pain and chronic myofascial pain syndrome, chronic fatigue syndrome, those kinds of things. A lot of times, if we can control the inflammatory component with your nutrition, with your diet, it makes such a huge difference.
It makes a huge difference. And it does work, if you put your mind to it. And I would say, like, in the beginning, it's kind of tough to make dietary changes because you're so used to maybe one way of eating. But what ends up, so it's your mind that has to make the choices to, for the foods that you put in your body. After a while, it's actually your body that teaches your mind to select the right foods. Because I had told you that after I did Ideal Protein, I was out and about. I've never really been into fast food, but a friend had gone through to get fast food. I tried one French fry and it tasted so dirty. I've never tasted that before. Before Ideal Protein, it never tasted dirty to me. It was dirty. And so, I mean, your palate changes. And I think it's the body's way of saying, you know what, I want clean food. Feed me clean food. That's what it's sustenance. That's what I want to live on. And so, that's that's the other bonus part of it, is that your tastes completely change along the journey. So it's easier in maintenance. I think maintenance can be scary for people, but don't let it be, because it can be done.
Yeah, so, we'll talk about that a little bit later.
Okay.
So I love that you shared this before and after picture. Again, I don't know that many people have seen a before and after picture of you. I think that's fantastic. Yeah. And so you went ahead and you did phase 1, and you kind of started off boring, or kind of started off regular, and then you started to think, well, I can start jazzing some of this stuff up, right?
Yes. I like my bread, and I just thought, and I do like the occasional sweet, and I feel like if you can find foods that you're satisfied with, even on a weight loss journey, that is the key to success. Because nobody likes deprivation. I don't think I don't think there's a human out there that wants to be deprived. So that if I can find and make food that's similar to the food that I had before, only a healthier version, that was what I was going to do. And so there was in 2013, there was only really one support group. There was about 1,200 and some people in it. It was a very small group, compared to some of the groups now. But it was a more intimate group, and we all kind of bonded and got to know each other. And I was sharing some of the recipes I was coming up with. And really, part of it, when you think of the 6 to 8 ounces of lean protein and 4 cups of vegetables, what do you do with that? Well, what gives it flavor? The way that you cook it gives it flavor. The method of cooking, seasonings, fat, and we aren't allowed a lot of fat on phase 1, and condiments. So thinking of it that way, if I can't use the fat, I can certainly use seasonings, method of cooking, and condiments to create these ideas. So, the ideas just, I literally would stand in front of the refrigerator or in front of my pantry and just scan and look and start creating. Well, then I started sharing those ideas on the phase 1 support page, and then the group started asking for a collection of the recipes, so they could just have one place they could go look for recipes. And so
sounds like the natural evolution of that, right?
It did. It just started organically like that. And, I let the group pick out even the layout, and they wanted spiral bound, and they want, there was different things. I wanted it to be their cookbook. Well, I wanted it to be their cookbook, not my cookbook. I mean, we're all in this, it's just, like I said, it's something I put together as a tool, but, they took the tool and ran with it, did all the work. So, and we're successful. So it was something else. Yeah.
Yeah. And again, so we carry your book in our clinic, and we have now for about 5.5 years. When we first started the clinic, I went to a couple of different places that I knew were very successful, and a couple of clinic owners became mentors of mine. And, I just basically mimicked what they did. And they had this cookbook called Geneva's Ideal Recipes. And so we got it. It became an instant hit. But again, what even gave you the knowledge or the wherewithal to come up with recipes like this and even start something like this? Where did that all begin?
It's just really been a passion inside me from the time I was a child. My mother had hundreds of cookbooks, and my parents were educators. In fact, most of my family is teachers or preachers. So, education is knowledge, and then to success. So I just took a natural I don't know the word for it, but I got into the cooking, and there's a certain amount of, I guess, talent with it that comes along. I must have gotten that from my mother. Yeah. And so, my inspiration really comes from reading what people want through the support groups. I get emails for people, can you do this? I'd like this. Some of it is, what my mother made for us when I was, I think childhood memories are a big thing when it comes to food.
Yeah.
I'm inspired by lots of different ways to make these recipes. But I remember in my senior year, we took a field trip. And we've got, I went to high school at Osseo, Minnesota, and it's about 15 miles from the Betty Crocker General Mills Pillsbury headquarters. And they took us into the Betty Crocker test kitchens. And I remember walking in there, and it was just like, with rainbows.
Yeah, you can hear the angels and the whole.
Yes, that's really what it was, because I can still remember that picture in my head. And they had the nice stainless steel appliances, the commercial style, but they had some beautiful wood. I mean, it was just gorgeous. And I thought, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to be a home economist, and I'm going to work in the Betty Crocker kitchens. And then, time went on. I had another love, which is interior design and architecture, and I actually took that path. And then I had another interest as a social worker. But I thought, well, the social worker, I think, I can always volunteer in my time, in that avenue. So what's ironic now is where I am right now, I feel grateful to be able to create like I wanted to do so long ago. And to help people. So the combination, is there. And so I'm just thrilled to be part of this.
It's really, to me, when we were talking about all of this, it's just a beautiful circular coming around as far as you took that path, you took the responsible path to, in architecture and interior design, et cetera, et cetera.
Right.
Like you said, social work, you realized it didn't have to be a career to be able to be involved in that.
Yes. Right.
But man, again, and it's kind of like God did for me, to be able to bring everything full circle, and now kind of this came about, and it's just so beautiful how it all came about. The other thing that I really, really found beautiful was you talk about being inspired and creativity and being able to put all that together into your dishes and into your recipes. I want everybody to hear this most beautiful analogy that you created. The idea of a food musician.
Just my adult life, a lot of my friends, my significant other is a musician. I mean, he literally picked a guitar up out of the neighbor's garbage when he was a kid. It had missing strings. It was a 12 string. He put all the 12 strings back together again and started playing. And I mean, he can listen to music and then just start playing. I know, me too. And I'm a trained musician. I play a piano and oboe and a little bit of drums, but so a lot of times when we do the basement band or the the garage band, all my friends like, come and jam with us. I said, no, I'll bring the food, because and I did. And so we sort of likened it, because I was always curious how they were able to do that. What inspired them to write the songs and do all that. So, but we got to talking one night, and they started calling me the food musician, because really the ingredients are my instruments, and the recipe becomes my lyrics, and then the ending dish is the song, and that's the spirit of that is where it really comes from. Where is that? It's in here, in the heart, in up here combined that create that. So there it is.
And that, again, so fulfilling for you then when you're able to put all that stuff together and create. And so, then I was also thinking to myself, well, here it is then, Geneva's first symphony.
Oh,
right. So
I love that.
there it is. Your first symphony.
Nice. Yes.
Geneva's Ideal Recipes. I just thought that was such a neat analogy.
Yeah, it's fun.
So tell us then about, what does it take to put together a cookbook? This first one specifically, and then how did it take off? You know what? Actually, no. I do want to go back to, we had a conversation about the initial stages of putting together this book and reaching out to Ideal Protein.
Okay. when the group started asking for a collection of the recipes, I spoke to the clinic about it first, and then they put me in contact with Andrew.
Shout out to Andrew.
Shout out to Andrew. I'm not sure what his title was at the time, but I want to say regional manager working for Ideal Protein. Love him to death.
Anyway, he's a regional vice president now.
Okay.
Yep. Oh yes, one of the Fab Four.
Yeah, we try to get together every now and then, but we still live, a little far apart.
And you know what? When travel again, I'm going to say, because when travel comes about again, and we're able to go places, I'm going to tell you right now that during a warm weather month, my guest host and I are going to travel out to see you and Andrew.
Oh, that would be awesome.
Can you see her backstage? She's freaking out already.
Yes, for sure.
I'm planning my Life Possible tour. I've got to visit so many of my guests in the beautiful parts of the world that they are.
Yep.
So
yeah.
All right. So let's go back. So you reached out, you met Andrew, talked to Andrew.
Yes. And then I just discussed with Andrew what the group was wanting and what my vision was of, and at that time I had a collection already of over 300 recipes.
Oh dear Lord.
The book right now has about 320, and that's not including the recipes that are in the files. There's, I want to say 40-ish there. So we're getting close to 400. I put probably quite a few more in since the 40 mark. But so then Andrew brought it to the attention of Ideal Protein, and long story short, eventually then I sent them a copy of the cookbook for their review, and they gave me the rights to put Ideal Protein's name on the cookbook, and it went to publishing shortly after that, and with a couple months of that, and it's just sort of, like I said, organically grown since then. I don't push the book. It's a tool there if you want to use it, if it's something that works for you. I don't advertise it. I don't market it. It's been more word of mouth. I've just had so much fun working with even the clinics and the coaches and just the nicest people. I think we're in a industry where we wouldn't be here unless we enjoyed helping people, other people with their life gains and such. So that's kind of it in a short synopsis, how that all came about.
Yeah. Wow. So the backside of the cookbook too. And I remember when I went to your website for the first time to order my first bulk books to get shipped. And I don't know if you remember this either, but I actually emailed you. And I had asked you a question, or I emailed support, or whoever. I did not expect you personally to email me back. And so I emailed into the site, and I just said, hey, I'd love to carry these in my clinic, blah, blah, blah. And I said, but I also want to know if the charity aspect of the book is still in play, if clients buy the book in my office versus order it through your website, because if it doesn't work that way, then I'm just going to tell everybody to come to your site and order it instead. And you wrote me back and you said, oh no, every book that's sold, whether it's through your clinic or through my website, gives a portion back to my charity. Yes. And I don't know that many people understand that either. I don't know that the people in my clinic who just buy the cookbook understand that a portion of the proceeds go to an amazing charity. Can you tell us about that?
Sure. I want to say how that began was, I knew that after my son passed, at some point, no matter what I did in my life, I wanted to give back. And I mentioned this before. I just want to say I had such an empty heart, and I thought by through the grieving, I thought, I need to fulfill my heart with something, and to receive something into it. That's not how it works. I found out really through this Ideal Protein and the members and how grateful they were, is that by giving it is how I filled my heart. So a few weeks before the cookbook went to publishing, I was so busy and I was running around town, and the tire kept going flat on my car, and I must have run it over a nail. Well, I had to stop like twice a day for about a week. And every time I stopped, I saw at the air compressor, it said, "Feed my starving children, feed my starving children." It was advertising. Yeah. And so it was almost like it was meant to be, because I was thinking about starting Samuel's House Foundation, but I knew I didn't have time to put the charity together. The paperwork is immense when you have a charity of your own. So I called them, connected with them, and they're an amazing. Feed My Starving Children has 4 headquarters in the United States. They're a worldwide Christian charitable organization that feeds children worldwide, and one of their headquarters happens to be in Minnesota. And so, speaking to the gal on the phone, she said, "Well, we'll just start a Samuel's House Foundation page through our foundation, and we'll set everything up for you."
And it just fell into place.
It did. It just fell into place. They put it together for me because I was so busy. I feel like I get to do what I love to do for a living. My son's not here to enjoy that part of life with me. I know that if he was alive and children were hungry, we would take them into our house and we would feed them. I can't stand the thought of a child not eating every day. So that's how Samuel's House Foundation started. We are in the top 5, Samuel's House is, of most donations in that entire worldwide charity
organization. Yeah. Wow.
Organization. We're pretty proud of that.
Wow.
So thank you, everybody. Everybody who's ever bought a cookbook is part of that. And so far, we have fed almost 70,000 children. And
so the analogy, and to put that into people's heads, give them a picture as to what 70,000 looks like. What was your suggestion?
Well, the new Vikings stadium,
which we have pictured here,
holds about 68,000 people. So for every seat that you see there that's filled, a meal has been donated for every seat that's there. So when you sit inside that stadium and you look around, it's goosebumps for sure.
Yeah. So, 100%. Yeah. That's just an amazing, impactful visual right there.
Yeah.
And so, too. And also that's over $12,600 that you've raised to date.
Yes.
Correct?
And yes. Yep. And, it's amazing how, a meal costs 22 cents. That's it. So, I mean, it doesn't take that much to feed kids. Yeah. It's, they're manna packs, rice packs, and that kind of thing. And now more than ever, those kids need to eat. COVID has affected packing the food and getting the foods to them and that kind of thing. So I will never not donate, no matter what I'm doing in my life, to that charity to help those kids. So,
and you know what? And I'm sure that a lot of people are going to be inspired by this show, even to give beyond the cookbook that they bought. So there is a way that people can donate through Samuel's House to feed my starving children, and that's on your website. Yes.
Yes. On the website, genevaskitchen.com, at the bottom of every page, you'll see that where it says Samuel's House Foundation in that gray background, there's a donate button. I've had so many amazing people just from the cookbook group on Facebook donate generously to the fund. Mm-hmm. And so even if it's $1, you feed 4 kids, at least 4 kids.
Yeah. Wow.
So I mean, it makes them, you'll make an impact. And I couldn't be more proud
of. So we've got that up there. You can kind of see on the screen, but also if you go to, and that's the thing too, I had the website up there. It'll be up again, genevaskitchen.com. It's the whole hub for everything Geneva right now, right?
Yes. Everything, right. From blogs to all the cookbooks and that kind of thing. So.
Excellent. All right. So moving forward, and I know that but this is such great stuff, right? But
it's so
let's do
fun
it.
talking to you.
But I'm going to do this real quick because I know someone
Okay.
is. Oh.
The whoopee cushion.
I had to do it. I had to do it one last time. Lynn has been, our guest host has been so patient. She'll get her chance. Let's go real quick then, because you don't just have one cookbook. Now we're up to 3 cookbooks. Let's talk about the second one.
Okay. The second one is, after my ideal protein journey, for me, I found that what the carbs were the issue for me. I couldn't process them.
I'm sorry. Hang on. Newsflash, Geneva. Carbs are the issue for everybody.
And yes.
And the sooner the sooner that your coach and you come to this realization, the better. And so that's why this cookbook becomes such an incredible tool. Go ahead.
Well, and so, yeah, like I said before, I didn't want to give up the foods that I loved. And so there's a lot of influence in this book from, again, childhood favorites, listening to people, what the people want, that kind of thing. And so the great thing about the low carb diet is now we can introduce fats into there. Dairy, yay.
And when we first got our shipment of cookbooks in, and of course everybody's like, hey, what's this? Hey, Geneva's got, I'm like, well, here's the deal, right? This is Geneva's cookbook for maintenance. Now, you know how good her phase 1 recipes are. Imagine what she can do when she can add fat.
Yes.
And their eyes get really big and they're like, oh my God, I've got to have it. And I'm like, well, you're not even halfway through phase 1 yet. So no, I'm not going to give it to you. Right. But they're like, oh, I've got to get to that cookbook.
Yeah. And so, and in that cookbook, of course, there's no ideal protein packets. That's because you've now phased off that part of the program. And so it's just everyday foods you can find in your grocery store. The only thing you might have to order online is allulose sugar, which is becoming much more popular now. Okay. And it's all natural. It's derived from figs and jackfruit. The National Diabetes Association, that's what they recommend for diabetics. Okay. But it's really easy to find, like on Amazon, that kind of thing. I mean, there's more lasagna in here, done a little differently. We get to actually use cheese.
And again, you can add cheese.
Yes. And, there's a section, I don't know if you saw the section on the flavored butters, but there was quite a, yes.
Yes. And flavored butters are a thing of mine.
Yes. And,
especially on my steak.
Yes, meat. Yes, and that's so old school. Actually, I mean that's really right. I think where flavored butter started. And there's kind of there's some stories in the cookbook, some history in the cookbook, just little trivia things. It was pretty meaningful. And
it's gorgeous.
Oh, thanks.
It is absolutely gorgeous.
It was. I actually had. All the, I didn't take the photographs. I had to hire that out, but I had to cook with a hot plate. All of that stuff was cooked with a hot plate, a microwave, and what am I trying to say? Just a tiny oven, just a little tiny stovetop or countertop oven. Because I was actually in this this photography studio, and they didn't have a kitchen there, so I had to bring everything and cook it there. So it was quite eventful. But so yeah, that one that's my heart for sure. That one.
It's fantastic. So, and we haven't even scratched the surface there. It's funny in our house, and again, my wife and I, we work crazy hours, as you can see. And but when my college daughter is home, and we call her Little Geneva. When Little Geneva's home, oh my goodness. She, the first time she saw your cookbook, I'm like, yeah, we cooked this and we cooked that. And she went through it and then she tabbed all around it. And she just we had something new every single night.
Oh, that's neat.
And, again, she has absolutely embraced the idea of that low carb lifestyle. And
Yes.
so I can't wait for her to really dive into this book. And, when she comes back during break, we'll get a little Geneva working on this one. And actually, her name is Caroline. So I love that you guys have
there
that
we
in
go.
common.
Yes. Yeah. We share that in common for sure.
And then I had no idea. What's this ebook that you've got there? 5 ingredients or less, 30 easy low carb dinners? What?
Yes. Okay. So how that sort of came about was in March, as we know, the pandemic hit. I was scared to death. I think they scared a lot of us to death. I mean, I didn't want to leave the house, and we didn't even know. We just thought that virus was flying all over the place. So I thought, I bet there's a lot of other people that feel the same. And going to the grocery store and navigating your way through there, I just wanted to keep trips to a limit. Yeah. And so I thought, you know what? I'm going to go into my fridge, freezer, pantry, and I'm just going to start creating super simple dinners that are low carb. And when I say and 5 ingredients or less, it's very challenging, but I actually like kind of painting myself into a corner. I like the parameter. I like tight parameters. For me, that's actually forces creativity out of me. So
yes,
so when I say 5 ingredients, it's not, it doesn't include things like water, salt and pepper, oil, the standard ingredients. These would be like proteins or fresh ingredients, that kind of thing. So but all of them simple. I like big flavor, but I like super simple, and that's kind of the genre that I go by. And and so for every day, it's so practical, and all of the meals are family friendly for almost any age, and really any age. And then so the fastest way to get it out there was to do an ebook. Doing a print book from the time you create a print book from beginning to end is about 2 years. So I was able to get. God. It's pretty and then some. It can be.
How do you stick with something that long? Wow.
It's passion and joy. I literally I work every day pretty much from the time I get up till I go to bed. But it's because what else? I mean, I love to boat. I take time to boat and things like that. But otherwise,
hey, something else that you share in common with our guest host.
Boating.
Look at her back there. Yeah, so we're gonna have to boat when we come out and visit you.
Yes, for sure. I'll have to show you the lake.
On your compound.
It takes about 4 hours to get around the entire lake. So it's that big.
All right.
It's pretty neat.
So I tell you what, we've waited long enough.
Yeah,
I think she'd suffered long enough, and I think that we've talked about these cookbooks now. I think it's time that we actually show some food, what some of these recipes, these songs look like, and nobody better to help us with this because I would be lost in this part of it. So I don't know how many of you have been introduced to our next guest. She, like I said, is somebody who's near and dear to my heart. God brought her to us a few years ago. She decided to take her ideal protein journey in our clinic. And she is just an absolutely amazing lady. Ideal Protein found her and discovered how amazing she was. And so they turned her into one of their amazing transformations. Geneva, did you see her amazing transformation video?
No, I didn't see it yet.
Oh, you've got to see it.
I need to. I'd like to see that.
Absolutely.
Right? Can you tell us how to find that link? Because it would be.
You know what? Literally, if you Google Lynn Roos, Roos, amazing transformation, the video should pop up in the list. And if it does not, we will put it back up put it up on the Life Possible podcast page. So that you can do that. But of course, then you've spoiled the surprise. We are going to, no further ado, let's bring on the amazing Lynn Roos. There she is.
Hi, girl. Hi. Come come true.
Oh,
You
you're
know,
so sweet.
you said that you have a passion for helping people.
Yeah.
And girl, you're looking at one face whose life you helped to change. Okay? When you just gave me, you helped Dr. Barnes give me a new life. I love you, Geneva.
Oh, you know what? I always say about this, you did all the hard work. I put together this tool, but you are just a shining example of someone who's just taken this journey with tenacity and just rocked it. I just love your story. It's amazing. I love you.
Back at you, sister. So this has been a dream. I thought I wouldn't get to meet you until I crashed a party at Stephen and Larry's house. That was in my mind. I was going to get
You'll
to
have
meet
to do that
Geneva.
too.
So shout out
We'll have to plan
Stephen and
that.
Larry, because you
Yes,
go there once a year usually, right?
I do.
Oh
Yes,
my
and by the
goodness.
time I leave there, my face is literally sore. We're laughing so hard the entire 4 days. Seriously, so
I
it's
love
just
it.
wonderful.
They are
I
some
love
good.
those guys.
You guys have become my family, my IP family,
Oh,
because there is a world of the IP family, IP
there is.
Nation. We just are.
IP Nation.
Absolutely.
There it is.
IP Nation.
Yeah.
So something
Agreed.
you said while you were working is food
Look at
is
that.
our passion. Okay. I don't
Yes.
know if you can
Look
see
at-
this world, but I love my baked goods. Okay.
Yep.
My mammy, my mother, all they did was bake. You don't get to be 339 pounds unless somebody fed you some really
Right.
good baked goods. Okay.
Sure.
So you brought things like the lemon scones into my life. Now, these don't look as pretty as yours because I don't do the icing. I don't make them as nice as you. But
That's
folks,
okay.
3 of these pieces, and see the little green zucchini in there. I don't know if you can,
Yeah, see
but
that.
Geneva talks about
Ew,
getting.
there's vegetables in there?
Yeah,
Ew.
see that.
Yes!
See, I told you can just hide them. You can hide them.
So that brings us up a little bit more. When you said all the different ways to hide, give me some more ways that you're hiding your veggies.
Well, I feel if you look at use cauliflower rice for
Yes.
a filler in meatloaf. We talked. The zucchini is excellent in burgers. You want to impress anybody, even non-IPers. Take some grated zucchini, mix it with your burger, season it, grill it. You almost can't have a dry burger. They are absolutely delicious. You can squeeze it and the juice just comes out of the burger. So that's another way. Grind it up in a grind, as rough as that sounds, but take the vegetables and grind it up in a shake. Use an Ideal Protein drink mix with some ice and some water and maybe a little extract of your favorite. You can use the extracts if you can find the right extracts in almost any flavor. Put in spinach. If the green is off put, you can't taste the spinach, but if it's off putting, put it in an opaque cup and then you won't have to see it. But
And I'm here to tell you, as a non-vegetable liker, the spinach thing, it took me 5 years to try, and I finally tried it last year, and you speak the truth. You cannot taste it one bit.
No.
Yeah, you know what? It's a funky color, but whatever. I'm used to drinking crappy protein drinks from it being a kid. But no, you get the Ideal Protein chocolate. It tastes wonderful, and the 2 cups of spinach are in there, and I just got 2 cups of vegetables, man.
Yeah, it's amazing, and like the buffalo chicken meatballs.
Oh yeah, they're great.
Yes, if you put the they require the cauliflower rice. Cauliflower rice does the same thing. So, but hide it in meats like that, and in any kind of ground meat. You can hide the vegetables, or you can transform vegetables into fruits. Oh, there you go, the chayote. I mean, perfect.
So I had no idea what this was prior to Ideal Protein and you. Talk to me about your caramel fried apples.
Okay. I actually like those better than I like real apples now.
Yes.
Yes, and ironically, I can't find them anymore where I live, and so
Oh,
I have a friend who is on Ideal Protein or was, and she lives in Green Bay, and she's my charity dealer, and so she get
good.
I know she buys them and puts them in a big large flat rate box and sends them to me, and I make I cut up about 22 cups of that, so I freeze some of it, and what I can fit into my my crock pot, I fit about 16 cups. I've got a big crock pot. I make it with the caramel syrup, Walden Farms caramel syrup, the maple syrup, cinnamon, a little bit of lemon juice. Lemon juice, what that does is it breaks down fruits and helps to soften them and ripen them. And then a little bit of sea salt. And now instead of the Walden Farms apple spread, I'm using apple cider vinegar. And it's
I love it.
amazing. I've since put that on the feed, that I've switched that out because a lot of people can't find the apple spread, and it kind of gives the tanginess amazing. Like it almost tastes more like apples than apples themselves, So it's such a treat because you can take that caramel fried apple. That's another thing you can hide if you don't like.
Yes.
I mean, who doesn't like fruit? But you can put it in a smoothie and grind it up, and it almost, what the nice thing about it, it makes it more like ice cream. If you add those to
caramel fried apples over the oatmeal. Oh, yes.
And the oatmeals, yes.
Yes.
Or over put them inside the muffins and cook with it. You can't put a whole lot in there, otherwise the mix won't bake correctly. But but just over waffles. I mean, there's so many uses for it. And now my two favorite things every day, and I could eat this for the rest of my life, is take 2/3 cup, which is about equal to 1 measured cup of the caramel fried apples, and put it in a bowl, and then put the apple cinnamon puffs over that, and then take 2 tablespoons, 1 ounce of the half and half, which is now protocol as of 2020, and then drizzle that over the top. It's better than any cereal ever. I mean, it's so good. And so what's nice about it, you can eat it for breakfast or dessert, kind of has that thing going on, and get your veggie haters veggies in that taste like apples. And the other one is to do the same thing, but just crumble up a vanilla crispy bar on top. It's so good. And it's
Dr. Barnes, I'm coming for the apple cinnamon puffs next. Get them ready.
Well, I wish they could make it in a big box. If they made it in a big box for maintenance, I would buy it, and that would be my go-to cereal. I love those apple cinnamon puffs. They're so good. Yeah.
Well, and you know what? I've got to tell you, at this stage of the game, Geneva, the blessing of having Lynn as a coach in our office is that she will make your recipes, and then she will bring them in, and we'll have samples available for people to try.
That's great.
And the caramel fried apples, again, I take one look at that thing that you call a peyote, and that does not excite me one bit. But I will tell you, and again, there are some people that probably don't even understand what we're talking about. But it's the caramel fried apple recipe in that phase 1 book, right?
Yes.
And oh my God, it is absolutely amazing. I will tell you, totally tastes like apples. Something that I would eat. I wouldn't necessarily be forced to eat that. So yes, the blessing of having Lynn is she brings that stuff in, and she's like, "This is from the cookbook. You got to get the cookbook." Right? She even made me try rhubarb. Okay.
Oh, really? Okay.
Oh my God, the rhubarb compote.
Yeah. I didn't give him a choice. I kind of just shoved it in his face and said, "You got to try this." I did not know he didn't like rhubarb.
Oh, well, the compote is a little tart, even with the extra.
It's amazing.
Yeah, you have. For me, I'm very sensitive to tart. My palate is, so I have to eat it. That's another one. It's really good if you take the Ideal Protein vanilla powder drink mix. plus some water and ice, and then throw in some of that the compote. It tastes like ice cream. It's whatever it does to the texture, it makes it with the ice. It's just almost, it's like a soft serve.
Wow.
Yeah,
Really good. Yeah. And then the sweetness and the tartness balances really nicely, but you can also put that rhubarb, the compote. Again, I put it in the muffin mix. It's kind of like using applesauce to make something more moist, a baked good, or over waffles, that kind of thing. So,
Lynn, what do you do with it? Lynn has a nice
take
little
one of
spin
my
on this.
large parfait glasses, okay, and ice cream parfait glasses. I don't have one with me right now, but I'll make my vanilla pudding and then I'll layer it in the parfait glass with a little dollop of the marshmallow on top, and that is my decadent treat. Yes, decadent.
Or the oatmeal. The crumble.
Yes. Crumble over it too.
Cinnamon crumble,
delicious. Yes. So then that leads us. This is a strange looking one, but the jicama. I never knew jicama and was very reluctant to try this.
For sure. I mean, it's not that, some of these vegetables are downright ugly, but I'll tell you, they're really good, right?
You're telling me.
Don't be scared. No. So and the jicama, it's like if a potato and an apple got together, and their offspring would be jicama. And you can eat jicama, sweet or savory. It's very popular in Mexico to sprinkle lime juice and chili powder on the jicama and eat like that. I've got a couple different recipes. One I like the most is the caramel apple jicama sticks. Have you tried that one?
I did not, but I like the jicama slaw. I'll make that a lot.
That's a good one. Yes. I try the jicama sticks sometime, because in maintenance, that's been like a staple. I'll make a huge batch of that, and that's what we put in the cooler and take with us when we go boating. And so if you have guests on your boat, and they even the non-IPers absolutely love it. And it's also a combination of they're not too sweet, it's a little bit tart, they're very crunchy, and just make sure they're nice and cold. It's literally like eating a caramel apple, flavor wise and crunch wise. So it's, to me, that's my game changer.
Instead of stealing my chocolate soy puffs, my grandsons might start stealing my jicama sticks.
And that would be great, wouldn't it?
Yeah. Yes, absolutely. Eating a vegetable, and they wouldn't even know it. Yes, yes. But okay. So the Rutabaga Fries. Dr. Barnes talked about Rutabaga Fries, and I remember
who even knew what a rutabaga looked like.
Well, a lot of cooks don't know what it is.
They don't. Okay. They still don't.
No, right. No, they don't. So, they have the wax outside. You'll always want to peel them. They're a little tough to peel because, or to cut up because they're so hard. But if you take a long, big, sharp knife, that's the key. And make sure it's sharp. And and then you can cut through almost anything, and it's much easier. Cut them into fry shapes. And then I like to, people are always asking, I want a crispy fry. Well, you can't, it's hard to do a crispy fry when you don't have a starchy vegetable like a regular potato. It's comparing apples and oranges. So you can't create that same crunch and crispiness, especially because you can't cook them in oil, right? But if you dip them in egg whites, just froth up a little bit of egg white, dip the rutabaga in the egg white, and then cook it. What I like to do is sprinkle with a little bit of Splenda and cinnamon for some sweet potato fries. So you can, and if you don't like sweet potato, style fries, you can also do savory. I like rosemary, garlic, salt and pepper. That's good. You can easily cook the rutabaga in. I like the oven. Because I can spread out a lot of them on two cookie sheets, and then rotate the cookie sheets and do a lot at one time. But the air fryer, they're excellent. I've got some recipes in the files for fries in the air fryer. So if you're
Nice.
looking for some, that you can find some there. But the egg whites, what ends up happening, the egg whites themselves is the part that gets kind of crunchy and lightly brown, so it's crispy when you eat it. So it's just a little
that.
It's kind of a little hack. Yeah. Egg white hack. Yeah.
Egg white. But so, and when you were talking about going into your pantry and looking what you have in there and seasoning and spices, I'm a Pennsylvania Dutch girl. Sausage is my passion. You know, the fairs with the sausage sandwiches. So what I've got right here is your sausage seasoning. How in the world did you put this together?
You know, I wish I had.
Hey, we got a graphic. Sausage seasoning.
Part of it is, oh gosh, I could really make this a long story, and I'm trying not to. Real quick, I started getting into seasoning blends back in right around 2005, 2006, and then I started taking those I was on the Oprah Winfrey show for these flavored butters.
What?
It's just
it's just on Oprah. You are a celebrity.
No, what happened was in 2007, I saw this. She was advertising in her show or requesting in her show that everybody. She wanted ideas presented and sent to her because she was partnering with QVC Television, and what they were going to do is they were going to pick out finalists. And the finalists had to present their idea to the QVC judges. And at the end, they would pick the person, the product they liked the best, and then that product would go on QVC and be sold. And so they had a lot of different categories. One category was gourmet. Well, I had been making flavored butters for several years. And so part of my Christmas gifts to my clients was to make homemade breads and then homemade flavored butters. I've got over 500 flavors of flavored butters together in another recipe book. It's about this. It's huge. This huge book. So then I sent my idea in. I was invited to go out and film for the show. I had to present it to the judges. The judges said, we love your idea. Put it in the store. We would buy it. The problem is it's perishable product. And we can't send it to doorsteps like in Arizona in the winter or in the summer, excuse me. It's going to be so hot it'll melt, and then the cost of shipping and packing and dry ice and all that. Okay. So I came home and I thought, how can I change it? Oh, I'll just put together the seasoning blends. So then I began this journey of putting together seasoning blends, and I had both sweet and savory. And naturally, they were all sugar-free. They're gluten-free. They're amazing. You can put, they're the sweet ones. Of course, you would put on, pancakes and just breads, and low-carb breads, that kind of thing. And the savory, it's endless. Vegetables and meats and all kind. There's so many different. So in that, you'll see. Yep, there it is. And there's
flavored butters.
Yes, and the story is in there about Oprah. In that book. So when you're talking about these seasonings, I started putting these blends together, and ironically, every blend that I put together for the butters, they just worked like the first time. So there was something, I don't know. There's balancing flavors comes natural to me. And so that's why I wanted seasonings that we could use to create flavors, because you go and you try and find these seasoning blends, and they all have sugar in them.
Yes.
Yeah.
Part of the reason even lemon pepper, I'm like, why do you put sugar in lemon pepper? What it is, it's a cheap filler. So to the public, they look at a jar and they think, oh, that's $2.49 versus this one over here, that's $5.49. Well, the difference is they're using really, really cheap ingredients to fill the bottle to make it look valuable, when in fact they're hiding terrible secrets, really, which is so seasonings are one of those things you really have to read the bottle to make sure that you're not
Well,
That has
Not
been
eating
real.
sugar.
Yeah.
right? That the addictive property is sugar. It
Yes,
automatically
it's
makes their product just fit into that addiction
exactly.
pattern, right?
Yes. Yes.
It's kind
For
of like
sure.
chocolate chips. Should we talk about the chocolate chips bit? No, we'll save the chocolate chip story for later.
For the end.
Okay.
Well, the
So here,
seasonings.
let's
That-
bring the
that's
graphics up
the
again.
seasonings
Let's
that-
talk about.
So one of the things I found now as a coach is when I'm looking at someone's journal and it's looking perfect, it's looking really good, and I can't find a thing that may have stalled their weight loss, and then I'll start talking seasonings, and lemon pepper comes up so often.
Often.
What
Yes.
lemon pepper have
Such
you
a
used?
disappointing, isn't
Yeah.
it?
And then the Greek seasoning that you have too. Oh, that Greek rotisserie chicken soup. Oh, and you make that now at this time of year, and you're on stuffed cabbage soup. My picky husband, I make that in a double batch, and I don't even get to put it in the freezer because he just goes right through it.
I think Eric pulled the plug on her when she said that. Say that again. Say that again, Lynn.
Oh, I'm sorry. When I make the on-stuffed cabbage soup, I'll do a double recipe and it'll be gone. I won't even get to put it in the freezer. In fact, I had made a batch so that I could show some on this show. It's gone. But what Dr. Barnes has right there is this was going to be my, I'm spilling water on my computer.
That'll do it.
That'll do it. Am I still here for you?
Yeah. We can.
Well,
we can see and hear you.
You can see and hear me, but I can't see you anymore. But anyway, I made your lasagna soup. Oh my, zucchini lasagna. And
we got those graphics up.
You got the graphics. And here I make a double batch when I make that so that I can go ahead and put some in the freezer, because having Geneva in my freezer keeps me going, just keeps me going.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
No, that she sent me these pictures when she was cooking earlier in the week, and it just looks so. But answer me this, because somebody's going to take a look at this and say, "Well, there's got to be cheese in there. What is it? Why does it look like there's cheese?"
Another secret.
When
you start mixing in the eggs, they are eggs. Eggs and egg whites combined, mixed. And the other secret is that you're not just putting them over dry ingredients. There's some sauce in there, and that combination, when it cooks, takes on a cheese-like texture and almost a cheese-like flavor. It can convince the mind that you're eating cheese. And I mean, look at the color. It looks exactly like cheese.
I'm telling you look at that picture and it makes your mouth water. And
and it's very good. It's you can't, it's not rubbery, especially when you cook eggs with a liquid. It's very tough to get them tough. They'll stay tender when you have, when you cook with liquids next to it. So but that recipe was actually one, we have a family recipe that I have in my head. I don't even have to look at a recipe to make it. And it was sort of born from our family recipe that people it's the only lasagna I will eat. And so I made this one so I could at least have that family lasagna while I was going through my weight loss at the same time. So
that's great.
Absolutely wonderful. You couldn't get rid of me. I might have dropped off due to zucchini juice, but
the audience didn't necessarily understand that you literally fell out of our studio, recovered yourself, and came right back in. I love it.
I'm not missing a minute with Geneva.
I knew we could not.
Yes.
Hey, real quick, I want to go back. I want to show that picture of this is Lynn's plate that she was trying to show earlier.
Yes.
She sent
That's
me
awesome.
a picture of this plate,
Look at
and
that.
so then I know that you wanted to talk about the recipes that were on that plate. Let's look at these pretty pictures.
That's her. Look at my scones. Don't look like hers, but man, they taste like hers.
And that's the important part.
Yeah, they taste. And
Isn't
these
it?
double chocolate chip cookies.
Wait, hang on. We got to show these. There they are. I'll even.
I get 2 of these, and I got to tell you, I underbake them a little, Geneva, because then they're gooey in the middle. Yeah,
There you go.
Chocolate.
That's awesome.
Wow, you're killing me with those. Oh my God.
And then the coconut joy muffins. Oh, girl. Those. So talk to us a little bit about your extracts and your flavorings.
Okay. The one nice thing about extracts and flavorings, sometimes, I use extracts. Sometimes I use emulsions. The difference is usually one is alcohol-based and one is water-based. Now, that not to be scared of the alcohol-based, because it's about 9% alcohol, which cooks out anyways once it's heated and cooked. So you don't have to worry about that. But if you're using, a quarter to a half a teaspoon, 9% of that is like, it's not even measurable. So yes. the key there between the two and the water base, it's just, like I said, it's just the difference. If you're using emulsions, you would want to use a little bit more because the flavor isn't concentrated as much as an extract. So you can put a little bit more in. But I think what happens with the emulsions is it allows you to find a more wider variety of flavors. Yes. Than the actual extracts. And so that's the bonus for the emulsions. So I use Olive Nation. You can go to Loran Oils, Lorann oils. They carry a lot of different flavors, but I find it, you can take one batter and you can put in the flavor that you like. And then you've got like a new flavor muffin every day if you want,
The fudge
so
brownie
it just gives you
added to your chocolate.
I know. That's a good one. Yes. You just have to read the ingredients, because sometimes I've even noticed with olivenation.com that they have changed their ingredients for whatever reason. So sometimes I've seen where they've switched them out and there might be some cornstarch or whatever in them. So as long as, they don't have sugar or cornstarch, things like that, then just use them, because you're not using that much anyway. So yeah, but it allows variety.
Why do people do that? Why do they change the ingredients when like something is good?
I know it
drives me crazy.
It's the same way with
go there.
Shampoos and makeup and other products like that.
Yes, I've had that trouble.
I have to ask you one more question, Geneva.
Sure.
And this is what really, really helped me as a beginner to IP. And I was the takeout queen, so I was not doing a lot of cooking for myself. But at the end of every one of your recipes, you clearly wrote out for me what I was going to be eating. How did you do that?
What's interesting is I figured that out before I even made the recipe. I knew my parameters, and then from there I made the recipe around those parameters, knowing that we can have this much protein and this. So I always try and structure something to fit into the ideal protein protocol easily. So if you make this, it's one portion. You can, or if it's something I needed to add, it's hard to explain, add in there, I might have to make it a double portion. But I always, I put that in there. If you eat half that, then yes. Mm-hmm. The only thing that you'll need when you're using that cookbook to be accountable yourself is the oil, which I think it's always good to be accountable, because after you're let loose and now you're in maintenance, you have to start taking a look at things, and knowing what. So you have to count oils and any extras, such as Walden Farms, and that seems to vary a little bit from clinic to clinic. But is it now kind of a standard for?
Yeah, that's kind of the standard right now. Is we're kind of saying 4 servings of those things, whether it be the Walden Farms or using Splenda or those types of things. So so I guess, but again, for everybody who's listening that might not understand what we're talking about, yes, one of the best things that you did in your cookbook is at the end of every recipe, the dieter will know how many cups of vegetables is in there, what the portion of meat is, all those things.
Look at you.
Now here, I'm going to bow out so that we can see what Lynn has done to your spiral bound book.
That's awesome.
So I
That's
love your
great.
spiral bound book, but my first
Yeah.
book, I lost it because it was so smudged and so
Yes.
so messed up. But
Yeah.
so I literally tore it apart. I'm sorry, Geneva, and I put
No,
each
it's okay.
sheet.
A lot of people do that, and that's all good. I think
It
it's great.
is all good. And so I have it by sections and I have my little tabbies all over the place. But at the bottom I'll use the naked burrito casserole, which is, if you haven't tried it, folks, it's beyond awesome. She makes guacamole out of asparagus. And I was like, delicious, absolutely delicious. But at the end, she always had, no, I'm making it for you to try. So in here at the end of that serving, she'll say the entire recipe equals 16 ounces lean protein plus 2 cups of veggies. 1/2 the recipe equals 8 ounces lean protein and 1 cup veggies. It was so clear. It's just so clear.
Good. That is writing a cookbook. It might seem like it's easy, but it's not. To try and get it simple and easy for every person to understand, because we all have different skill levels.
Yes.
There's many people that either don't like cooking or they've never really cooked. They don't understand abbreviations. I've got the abbreviations in the back. You can't take that for granted. But a lot of people now, because of the simplicity of the recipes, they are actually now loving cooking.
Yes.
I've had people write to me and say that I've never cooked for my family in my life.
Yes.
I made this recipe for them, and they loved it. And now, and so they gave her compliments. There's nothing better than feeding and nurturing your family and having them just go, yes. It's such a good feeling to be able to do that. So I love seeing testimonials like that for non-cooks that now turned cooks. Because when you're in charge of what you're eating, you're going to have a much easier time staying healthy and enjoying the rest of your life.
Like you said, many families' lives, because a holiday dinner for my family many years ago was so carb laden, I don't know how we got up from the table. And now when we can do your mashed potatoes, your Asian green beans, your mashed cauliflower potatoes and your Asian green beans, your muffins, it's a whole new lifestyle for all of us.
Yes.
You're melting the
and
mouth
it's still
pork.
It's still satisfying. I
wanted to point out in Lynn's binder, one of the other cool things about the book and the way that you have it organized, especially for people like me, that your indexes, right? You've got to index twice.
Yes.
Yeah.
So tell us about that.
Okay. The first part, there's 2 indexes. The first index is categorized by the recipes and the categories themselves. So the categories are alphabetized, and then the sub menu under each category, those are alphabetized. So if you have beef or poultry or whatever, and you have it thawing and you want to figure out what am I going to make tonight, just go to the poultry section and then just read through the titles and see what sounds good to you, or go over inside the book, the poultry section, and look through it. The second index in the far back is the ideal protein index, and that's all alphabetized as well. So if you have the chocolate drink mix, you can just go look under C for chocolate, find the drink mix, and then it lists all the recipes in there that you'll need, or if you want to find
that uses that product.
Yes, correct. Yes,
and it's kind of like when people have extra packets at home and they're trying to figure out what to do with them. I just say go back to go to the index and see if there's recipes that use that one, right?
Yes, exactly.
And then what I'm holding up here is what awesome coaches have done with your cookbook and your information, but they've given us outlines. This was the very first Geneva's Thanksgiving Day menu ideas given to me by Dr. Barnes. And it's in your cookbook and it's used and abused. But so you gave the gift that just keeps on giving and giving and giving. So
I can't, happy to do it, you know.
Hey, speaking of that, so yeah, we used to make handouts. We still should. Thanksgiving, we did a whole thing as far as all the different ideas that you had put out from your group. And then we listed which page numbers that those recipes were on. You know, we had the books available and things like that. But I'll tell you, one of the other times that we created a handout is for a holiday that is near and dear to most of us in the United States and also in Canada. It's the Super Bowl. Hey, and it's coming up this Sunday, right? It's Super Bowl Sunday.
Yeah.
So excited about this. And so it reminded me that we have a whole handout on what you can do for your own Super Bowl spread or to take to a Super Bowl party.
Sure.
Tell us about some of these recipes that we've got on here that look so appetizing and will be definitely on my spread at home.
Yeah, the up in the top left corner, the Fiesta beef nachos. That one I put out. That was one of my first recipes. That one literally went viral among the group. There was the nice thing about it is it's finger food. So if you if you don't want to sit down to a meal, I think everybody kind of likes finger food during
especially for the Super Bowl.
Yes, and so and then the fried pickles. Hello, I mean they literally taste like fried pickles. They're crunchy. I made a little bit of dip there with the honey mustard, Walden Farms.
Right.
I think I made it with the maple syrup and some Dijon mustard. It's excellent dipping sauce.
Hey, real quick, is that an oven recipe or is that an air fryer recipe or?
I have both, but I believe I did a stove. I want to say I did a stovetop version, but I did also. I think I just put an air fryer recipe in the files. I'll have to double check that for sure. I have so many that sometimes I can't always pull up what I did, but
I bet.
But and then the guacamole or the guacamole. I think if you like regular guacamole, the nice thing is the flavors like all there. There's the cilantro and the pico de gallo and the lime. And if you don't like asparagus, you can't taste. It's another one. You can't taste the asparagus.
It's
There's
amazing.
No asparagus flavor. Yeah, it's so. And then the next is the chili con carne, very popular in the northern colder regions. We love our chili this time of year. That one I had just put on the feed not long ago. One of the members took and entered it into a chili contest, and it won first place over any of the other chilies. And no one was the wiser that it was the one for the weight loss. So
right, it's a phase 1 recipe. What?
Yes, and then of course the meatballs. They have the cauliflower rice in them.
So those are the buffalo chicken
delicious.
Meatballs, right?
Yeah.
I will tell you again with my aversion to vegetables, the cool thing about those is the fact that the ground chicken is so dry in the first place when it cooks that you can't tell where the ground chicken begins and the cauliflower ends or vice versa, right?
Right.
And so for me, it's perfect. It is the perfect concept of hiding your vegetables in there. And they're just absolutely fantastic.
Yeah. I see I need to plug my tablet in because I'm getting down to, so if you can excuse me and you guys can talk, I have to plug it in. Yeah, it's over here. It's only
okay. We are almost done.
Okay.
So, but I knew.
Are we?
Plug it in.
Go plug,
no. Okay.
You go plug it in.
Go plug it in. We can't lose Geneva.
All right. Well, now go ahead.
Are we going to get another special surprise from Geneva when she comes back on? Look at his face. He's forgetting.
What would that
What
be?
the next holiday is after Super Bowl Sunday.
Maybe she'll help us out with that.
I'm wondering. I can't wait.
All right.
So
Wait,
Here we go.
wait.
Let's see.
What?
Oh no! Now she's playing your role. We're bringing her in and out. Oh, we're losing control of the show. This is what happens,
as
ladies and
will
gentlemen,
happen. Yes.
when you've been trying to record a show for 6 hours, and here we are, finally getting it. Oh, wait,
Yeah.
there she is. No, oh, there she goes.
Oh, this is what happens when you get Geneva and I together. We just have so much energy that we just blow up computers.
and I'm sure we're going to break the internet with this one as well.
Yes.
All right. Let's see. Are you ready to come back?
All right.
There
it's
she
charging.
is.
I'm back.
Are we good?
Yep. Right. Yep.
All right. So
We're
Lynn
good.
already
Yep,
spilled.
I can
Lynn
see
kind of
it
spilled the beans.
Charging now.
We're gonna move ahead, and let's talk about Valentine's Day dinner and dessert.
Oh,
Okay. So on Valentine's, it's the one day nobody wants to be eating a heavy dinner and holding their stomachs, right? Especially if it's a romantic dinner. And even if it's not romantic, it's still, I think it's a celebration where you just want something that's light and elegant, a little bit elegant and a little bit elevated.
Yep.
And so, and so in this, what I like about this dish is that the salmon is super easy. You literally.
So what is the salmon called?
It's
perfect salmon.
Yes, perfect salmon. And you literally, it's in the cookbook, but you just put it in a cold oven. After you season it, you put it in a cold oven and you just turn on the heat and let it sit. It's done. Now, and then what you see it looks like the cauliflower mash, but it's celery root puree. If you've never seen celery root, it's
the ugliest thing in the world. But
it's very ugly.
I couldn't find one right now because it just must be out, but it's ugly. But I did find my kohlrabi zucchini or linguine.
Oh,
but go ahead. That's something else.
Awesome. Okay. And so, but you would prepare it the same way. I think I sent, where are we going to put the recipes? Eventually I put them in the files later tonight or tomorrow morning or whatever.
Yeah,
so
let's direct everybody to your group to get those recipes.
Okay.
And then actually if you would allow me to share them on the Life Possible podcast Facebook page.
Yes, absolutely.
Then I will actually put them on the Life Possible podcast Facebook page.
Okay. And celery root, another one, if you're afraid what it tastes like, it really tastes like it's a little bit peppery, not strong, just light, and maybe a hint of celery. I'm not a huge celery fan, but I absolutely love this. I just feel like it's the next level from cauli mash, which is so rustic, And then this, the Italian asparagus couldn't be easier. Again, it's done on the stovetop. I've added some seasonings into it. There's green onion in there. This one's a play off one of the recipes I have in the maintenance cookbook. The difference is I used olive oil in here rather than butter, but in maintenance, you can use the butter. And it all of the ingredients that you see on the plate, they complement each other so well. Yes. If you're not fond of salmon, you can easily put in a little filet mignon or some other kind of steak. I would just recommending either grilling it or putting it on the stovetop. But but you could put in scallops, shrimp, what
scallops
have you.
are delicious.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. And but that it's a full plate, but when you're done eating it, you don't feel like you just want to sit and unbutton your pants. You're pleasantly filled. Yeah.
It's a family show.
I didn't even think.
See, this is what happens. This is what happens when you do a show at night. I told you I'd get her laughing.
Okay, and so are we gonna? Where's the dessert?
Where's the dessert?
There's dessert. Hang on. Let's see if I've got dessert. Oh, man.
And it's
Here we
just not your
go.
ordinary dessert.
Oh,
Look at
dear
Yes,
Lord in
yes.
heaven. What is that?
that. Yes.
Okay. So it's the double chocolate caramel cake. What I did is I took the double chocolate chip muffin batter, and I put it in I put it in a standard size bun pan. Just spray it, of course, with the cooking spray. Put it in there. It only fills up about, not the whole thing, of course. It only fills up the bottom a little bit, about a quarter to a third of the bun pan. That's okay. I baked it for 19 minutes at 350. Dumped it out, cooled it off, and then what you see on the top there is I dressed the top with Walden Farms marshmallow, and it just starts. I coaxed it down the sides a little bit, otherwise it kind of went on its own. And then I took a spoon and drizzled the Walden Farms chocolate and the Walden Farms caramel across the top of it, and it is stunning in person when you see it in person. And the best part is 1/4 of that cake is one unrestricted serving, and then you would just count the extras.
Wow.
And there's about there's about 1.5 extras that you would, of the 4 that you would have in a day, just on on that cake. So I mean, just kind of what's better on Valentine's Day than chocolate and caramel?
Yeah,
I don't
I'm
know.
totally making that.
So,
What
Totally
kind of
making that.
diet is this?
Yeah,
What kind
right.
of protocol? Yes.
pretty neat that we can still
Yes.
eat those things and achieve our goals and stay healthy. And so
Oh, it looks amazing.
there it is. Very good.
All right. Fantastic. Did we have any fun tonight, ladies?
Oh, I had a blast. It was great.
Geneva
So fun.
Symphony sings in my mind all the time. What a beautiful song.
Oh, that's so neat. I'm so thrilled I got to meet you tonight. I mean, I've just had so much fun. I've just had so much fun with you too. And you're always kind and gracious on the cookbook page. I just want to mention that. And it just, you're a star.
Thank you for changing
shine.
my life. You and Dr. Barnes, my two heroes. Thank you.
Oh, absolutely.
We make quite a team.
So so you two have to plan on coming to Minnesota sometime, or at least even to Stephen and Larry's for sure.
Yes.
So that's let's get this COVID out of the way before that happens, right?
Yes.
So
hey, and the Stephen and Larry, do you think they might make good guests on our show sometime?
They'd be great.
I think they'd be hilarious.
Are we giving them a shout out right now? And
get ready, Stephen and Larry.
Stephen and Larry. Yeah. They'd be awesome.
Yes, we will definitely give them a shout out and an invite to be on the show. I think that would be fantastic. Which actually too, and I have to say, Geneva, this has been, again, when I make the show, I kind of have ideas in my head as to who would be an incredible guest to have, and you certainly are top of that list.
Well, thank you.
I would hope that we had so much fun that maybe we would do this another time later in the year.
I love it.
I'd love to do something maybe like for summer, summer cookouts. We'll maybe put a theme around it and do something like that.
Geneva's mocktails.
Oh yeah, right.
Yes,
that's true. We could do mocktails. We could have summer cookout type stuff, and I think that'd be really, really cool.
Yeah, that'd be great for sure.
All right, ladies. Well, as you know, it's way past my bedtime, so let's go ahead. I'll let you guys say your goodbyes.
Bye. It was really nice meeting you, and it won't be the last time. Love you, lady.
Love you too. It was amazing. Okay, and John.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Geneva, and thank you so much, Lynn, for being a part of this.
Loved it. My pleasure.
It was as epic as I thought it was going to be. Thank you, ladies.
Thank you.
All right. So, wow. You know what? I am so glad that we were able to put all this together tonight, get this to you. I'm going to try to get it up on the internet as fast as possible. Next, I want to look forward to our next show. Again, I always say this, right? I couldn't be more excited about my next show. My next show, actually, we are going to feature our first returning guest. Our returning guest in 2 weeks is going to be none other than Ideal Protein Nation legend, Ed Reardon. Ed Reardon is a clinic owner in the Chicago area. He has 2 clinics, one in Glenview and one in Lake Forest. He's been in Ideal Protein forever. I don't believe that there's anybody that knows more about the protocol, both scientifically and or more about resetting somebody's mind to reset their possible. I'm so psyched because by getting Ed on the show, I get to spend more time with him over the next couple of weeks. And I learned so much when I spend time with him. If you have not seen or heard that episode, it's episode 5 of the Life Possible podcast. He is the current title holder, most views of any show, most downloads on all the different platforms of any of my shows. So it is well worth listening to or looking at if you have not seen that before. This show is going to be epicer than epic. So please tune in 2 weeks. I believe that that's going to be Thursday, February 18th, something like that. Thank you so much for being with us. I hope you'd enjoyed this as much as we did. Please like us on Facebook, subscribe to us at the Life Possible podcast on YouTube. We are also on iTunes podcasts and Spotify, Google, wherever you might find podcasts. Download, subscribe. Pass them on, share them with your friends and your family on Facebook, those people that you think might be inspired by the shows. This is episode number 20. And for those of you that are watching for the very first time, I'm telling you, you've got 18 great episodes and then something I did around New Year's. So please go back and look at those. If you've decided tonight that you are going to start an Ideal Protein journey, and you happen to be in the Northern Virginia area or outside of Washington, D.C., look us up at Ideal Protein at Barnes Chiropractic Health and Fitness in Centerville, Virginia. We're on Facebook and we are on the internet at idealdietcenterville.com. And if you're not in the Washington, D.C. area, I encourage you to go to the corporate website, www.idealprotein.com, and use the clinic locator to find out a great clinic near you. So as always, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to say, please, please, please start pursuing or keep pursuing your life possible. Thank you so much.